What's up guys, Aroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about resources and how you can retain your resources, the best ways to save your resources for future content, especially for fusions, because a lot of people unfortunately don't have any resources. As you can see, I have very little resources here in terms of silver, but I have a lot of gems, or at least a decent amount of gems. Not crazy. Some people might think this is a lot of gems, but honestly, it's not. So I'm going to be talking about this video, how you can conserve your resources and min-max your resources in general. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so in regards to this video, I do want to talk about how you can save your resources, and to put it bluntly, of course, you can save your resources by not being so compulsive. That's very easy to say, right? Very easy for me to say, but not an easy thing to do. In regards to your resources, you want to make sure that you're saving up for every single fusion. And what I tend to see is people don't have any resources to even get fusions, or they go into the fusions with no resources whatsoever. You have to be extremely, extremely cautious on when and why you're spending your resources. So that's the biggest thing, is when and why you're spending your resources. In terms of silver, why are you spending resources on certain gear types? Why? So ask yourself that question. If you see yourself having very little to no 5-star gear, and then you're spending... I see people a lot of times spend their resources, their silver, hard-earned silver, on 5-star gear before they spend it on 6-star gear. So you really should be spending it on your best gear first. Don't spend it on your worst gear first. Spend it on your best gear first. So in terms of 6-star gear, I want to choose 6-star, and then I want to choose my mythical gear, right, from my account. This is all the mythical gear I have on my entire account. Now, obviously, you can see a lot of level 16 pieces of gear, and a lot of them are also level 12. That's because I want to spend my resources, my silver, on my strongest gear before I go and spend it on my weakest gear. It just doesn't make sense for you to waste your hard-earned resources on gear that is lower level. For example, I do have level 12 gear here in 5-star, which is okay, but you also have to keep in mind the substats that you get on every piece of gear. So if your gear doesn't have good substats, why would you even keep it to begin with? And I actually fell into that category of accidentally keeping gear that's just not that good. So make sure you're getting rid of your gear that does not have good substats. For example, this mythical piece is 5-star. It could have been insane if I rolled all into resistance. This is considered like a double or a triple roll for a 5-star legendary piece of gear, but it has speed as well, so it's okay. I was hoping that I would get resistance double, speed double, but instead I got HP, resistance, and speed. For my account, because I've been playing for so long, I may not want to keep this unless it rolls another time on resistance or another time on speed. As a free-to-play player, it's very hard to choose, and I also have this problem myself, where I keep gear that honestly is not going to be good, and gear that I just wouldn't use anyways. So if it's gear that you're probably not going to find yourself putting on your champions for 2, 3, 4 months, why keep that piece of gear? Just think about that. Okay, so again, that gear could be sitting here and could be wasting your space. All right, so that's also a resource. Space is a resource if you think about it, because when you don't have any space, you tend to not farm dungeons as often, which means you could be getting and acquiring better gear. So if you have all this gear that's just stuck here, think about it. Am I going to be using this piece of gear at any point in time? Okay, so for me, I have a double roll on speed. This could potentially quad roll on speed. It also has accuracy double roll because it's mythical, remember? So this is a good piece of gear, and I'm hoping that eventually when I do roll it up, it rolls on quad, on speed. But the thing is, I'm rolling up my 6-star gear before I roll up my 5-star gear most of the time. Unless that gear is so strong, like this one, for example, which has a double roll on speed, then I may consider going back to this piece and saying, okay, let me roll it up to 12. And see if it gets a triple before I chuck it out. Let me roll this up. Crit damage, no crit rate, but it does have speed. It could land a double roll on speed. In that case, I might still consider keeping it because it is a legendary piece of destroy gear, which I could potentially use on my account. And in terms of destroy gear on my account, you also want to think about this, and this is a broad thing. This is in general, all pieces of gear. So in terms of destroy gear, how many crit damage 6-star destroy gear do I have that has speed on it? One piece of mythical. Now we're going to go down to 6-star, and we're going to go to 5-star, and we're going to go to legendary as well. Do we have any legendary crit damage with crit rate at 5-star or 6-star? Not a single piece. So of course, although this may not look very good on paper, if you first look at it, it's actually good on my account because I don't have a single destroy piece of gear with crit damage and speed on it. How about epics? Do I have any epic destroy gear? And I'm also choosing by equipped as well. Notice that. I have one other piece that has speed on it, but it doesn't have any rolls into speed. It only has triple accuracy, which is still halfway decent, but not great. That's on a rare champion that I haven't utilized in many, many years. Probably since like the beginning, since I first started. But you got to think about that. Space is resource, as well as, of course, conserving your silver. That's one thing that me personally, I'm not good at conserving the silver. I get the silver, and then I'm like, okay, I want to upgrade this champion right now. And we're not even having an event or a tournament that goes over artifact enhancement. That's the other thing. I wish I was better at that, but because I have a compulsive tendency, and I know a lot of you players out there do too, because of a compulsive tendency that we have, we go and just spend our resources right away. When I could have 10 million, 20 million, 30 million silver saved up right now, waiting until artifact enhancement events. You need to wait for artifact enhancement events, or you need to save until a fusion comes up. That's how you conserve your silver as much as possible. Now, there's other ways to conserve silver as well, in terms of, doing that weird trick where you can go on airplane mode on your phone, or maybe even go in airplane mode or shut off your Wi-Fi on your computer. And that's when you're upgrading your artifact pieces. So that's another way you can save silver. Probably arguably the best way to save your silver. However, for me, I've never done it. I'll be honest. I've played almost 4 years. I probably should be doing it because I'm free to play, but I've never done it because it's just a pain to me. It's a hassle. I don't know if there's anybody else like that, like me, that I just don't want to do that over and over and over. Although it doesn't really take that long. It does take a good amount of time. And I guess I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to. It's not a waste of time. I just don't want to deal with it. It's tedious. It's very tedious. It's time consuming out of your real life, out of your day. And that's why I don't do it. But I know there are ways to do it. Okay. Now, you can also use other things like RSL Helper and BlueStacks. I don't personally use them. And I know I'm going to get it in the comments down below. I absolutely should be doing it, but I don't do it. It's a weird thing I have myself. I just don't want to do it personally. I like to go on the game and actually play it manually. I know it's super, super weird. I get it, but that's what I do as a free-to-play player. I don't even do it on my pay-to-win account. It could be easy and I could just let it run and put some macros in there, micro macros, whatever, let it run on its own and be like, yeah, whatever. But I personally don't do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not saying it's bad that you should or shouldn't do it. You can do it. It helps your account, helps your progression. Actually, it allows you to progress a lot faster in this game, especially if you're new to the game and you're just coming in. Then yes, I do recommend RSL Helper. I do recommend BlueStacks. Even if you're late game, if you're at work or if you're sleeping at night and you run out of energy and you're free to play, then you do RSL Helper or BlueStacks and it just perpetually, runs the system for you. It keeps on going for you. You don't have to worry about a thing. So I do recommend utilizing RSL and BlueStacks. I just don't personally use them. Okay, other things that you can do to save gems. A lot of people don't have any gems. And the one thing you shouldn't be doing, which I know many of you have done it, I myself have done it before, is purchasing in the gem shop additional shards. the 900 gems for a big pack of ancients. I've done it many times myself. I know for a fact you've done it. I know for a fact you've done it out there. Whoever watching this, we've probably all done it at least one time. But I do not recommend buying the big shard pack unless you're like really early game and there's a 2x event going on and you're trying to get the best bang for your buck in terms of hopefully getting that legendary champion. Even then, I still don't highly recommend it. I still think you can conserve your resources, okay? Keep them, keep your gems, and utilize your gems on energy refills. Once you do get that energy refill, you let it sit here. These are the free gifts that you get every single day. That brings me to my next segment. It's saving your free gifts. Okay, save your energy gifts every single day. I am horrible at that because I want to keep playing the game and I want to keep manualing the game on my cell phone, or right now I'm on my computer, but on my cell phone, I'm constantly playing the game manually. And so I tend to use all of the energy I have. Don't do that. You should conserve your resources. Okay? Try to keep as many of these free gift energies as you can so that when the next fusion comes up in 2 weeks, because every other day you get one of these energies, every other day. So in 2 weeks, you should get 7 energy refills, at least. In 4 weeks, you should get 14, so on and so forth. In 130, that's 130 times 14 in 4 weeks. So you need to be saving up your resources that you're getting for free every day. Making sure you're going through your daily quests every single day and completing the entire thing. Your advanced quests, the same thing, because at the end of all your advanced quests, you do get another full energy refill that you can claim. You can also save the energy here and claim it later. And so, or wait, and then when you do restart and refresh the day, it'll go right into your inbox instead. There are ways to do that. So these ones right here, the 60-minute refill, you can also save this as well. So there's so many different ways where you can save items. I also always recommend picking up these mystery shards to try to get as many mysteries as possible for the next fusion. Don't skip out on mysteries. The other thing is that people sometimes do is they farm Nightmare Campaign. Nightmare Campaign is awesome. It allows you to get double the XP, a little bit more than double, on stage 6, 12-6 or 12-3. However, you should be farming Brutal 12-3 or 12-6. Reason being is because you get mystery shards, and mystery shards make the difference when you're trying to go for a fusion during Champion Chase or Summon Rush. So always do Brutal 12-3 or 12-6. 12-3 is better because 12-3 has shields. Shields, when you sell them, you actually get more silver back. So 12-3 is actually better than 12-6. 12-6 just gives you a little bit more experience for your champions. You also want to conserve your ancient shards, void shards, now primal shards. I have 5 of them saved up as a free-to-play player because I've been going ham on the tournaments and the events. Also, you get the quartz because there's different ways that you can get quartz. So you can actually save up primal shards fairly quickly. I feel like based on how many events and tournaments they've had so far for primal shards, you can probably get at least up to 8 a month. Potentially 8 a month. Now, if you've played longer than 270 days, I believe it is, for your daily logins, you also get 1 primal shard a month. So because of that, and then if you're going ham on certain events, like Champion Training, which has primal quartz, and this is not bad because you generally do Champion Training throughout the week. Be careful with these types of events, though, because you don't want to drain your resources before a fusion comes out, and we may actually have a fusion next week. So keep that in mind. Plarium, I don't know what just happened, but you got to fix your game. It just kicked me out when I went into the autumn path. I don't know why that happened, but I'm going to keep that in the video. I'm not going to edit it out, and I am now logging back into the game. Don't know why it did that. Let me know in the comments down below if it's doing that to you as well for the autumn equinox path. Every time I click into it, it kicks me out of Plarium Play. Not sure why, but it's been doing that very often. Other things you need to do, again, I talked about saving energy, saving your coin. You can also go into the Doom Tower. Make sure you're farming Doom Tower so you can save as much resources from the Doom Tower as well. But the biggest thing is Do not waste, like, just pop your ancients during 10x's. Don't just pop them, okay? Unless you're a pay to win player, don't pop your ancient shards during 10x's. Like right now we have a 10x for voids, but we also have a 2x. So this is the best time to pull your void shards because it's a 2x chance to get a legendary champion. I'm going to go ahead and pop this anyways because this will be my 20th one during the weekend. I got a rare, so go figure. I am now 106 voids into my pity. So this is a free-to-play account. I always end up going straight to Mercy, which is annoying. But voids, that's the only time I would typically go ahead and pull and recommend pulling your void shards or shards in general is during a 2x. However, I could have saved my voids and waited until the next fusion, and I would have had an even better chance to pull that fusion. So the biggest thing a lot of people get sucked into is the 1+1 events, which are, I would say without a doubt, probably the best one if you're close to your pity, your mercy system. But you can also do 2x's as well. But personally, I love the 1+1 events. They also suck you in and make you spend your resources in terms of shards. So you got to be careful with that as well. They usually do that before a fusion, which throws you off. So if you're a free-to-play or low-spend player, then you're stuck like, oh God, now I might not be able to get that fusion because of the summon rush or the champion chase that's coming up. So always save your shards. You might have to skip a 1+1 event. You might have to even skip a 2x event. 2x's are hard to skip. They're the hardest to skip because, and hear me out, a lot of people don't skip 2x's, but as you get into the late game, it's better to skip the 2x's and 1+1s if you already have quite a large arsenal of champions in your vault. If you're really early game, I don't recommend you skipping out on 2x's because it is a big chance that you will get that legendary champion or multiple epics. Okay, and epics make a massive difference, even though they're epics. I know we're gunning for those legendaries, but there are epics that are even better than legendaries. So there's that as well. Other places you can conserve resources. Come here into the clan shop, get all the energy you possibly can. Next week, hopefully we get a new rotation of energy on Tuesday. That's what I'm hoping for. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. If you're stuck and you just don't have any silver, I don't always go for this, but sometimes I go for the silver to try to complete an artifact enhancement event, especially during a fusion. This actually comes in handy. So you can get silver from here if you need it. Unless you already have tons and tons of silver, you can come here and you can get yourself some silver to top off and finish that artifact enhancement event. Other things you can do is you can go to the Bazaar. Go to the Bazaar, save your resources here. I have 16 hours left. I always get this energy when it first pops because it comes back every week. Okay, the Ancient Shard comes back every week. If you're all the way in gold, obviously it's even better to get the Sacreds. If you're in silver, awesome, get the Void every 2 weeks. And you want to make sure you're grinding as much as possible to get all the resources here. I don't recommend getting the XP Brew or the silver because it's so expensive to get these two that I just don't get them. And 50,000 silver, you could literally farm Spider one time and have 50,000 silver. That's how bad that is. Also making sure that you are, where else is there? So Doom Tower I did talk about. Clan Boss, you want to get a Ultra Nightmare team going as quickly as possible. One thing I messed up at is for over a year, I didn't have an Ultra Nightmare team made. And then when I finally did make one, it was like a 3 key, which was terrible. And then after like 2 years of playing, I ended up making an Ultra Nightmare 1 key, which you shouldn't do. You should be making it, or actually I made a 2 key after 2 years. And then, which is embarrassing, honestly. And yeah, you should definitely be making an Ultra Nightmare team as quickly as possible. I did not focus on that. So my progression on my account was terrible. I just wasn't getting as many shards as I could have gotten. And so, now that I have a 1 key that I can get over and over and over, I always farm Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, Brutal, and Hard every single day. Okay? Same thing goes for the Clan Boss for Hydra as well. Farm that as much as possible. Don't skip it unless you're really early and you just can't even beat easy. Other than that, at the end of the day, it all comes down to trying to your best with patience. Patience is so important in this game. And if you don't have patience and you're very compulsive, then you're going to go through all your resources. And then by the time a fusion comes around, you just can't do it. Anyways, what are some tips that you guys have for the viewers, for other people out there? Leave it in the comments down below. Maybe you know something I don't know. Leave it in the comment down below. Appreciate you all for watching. Hope you enjoy the day. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and take care.